Hello! So, we're going to talk about how I eat, clean eating, and any questions y'all have. So, one of the first things that I get asked is, do you have a restrictive diet? And the answer is no. Because in my opinion, my diet isn't restrictive. It's actually just having whole, real foods in my diet that aren't packed with chemicals, genetically modified, packed with hormones, because I believe that the real food works in the body amazingly. So I avoid gluten because back in the 80s, it was genetically modified and my body just doesn't do good with it. And it often leads to autoimmune situations. It often leads to just hormone imbalances and just feeling gross, digestive issues. So many things are attached to gluten. So that is a non-negotiable for me. So I don't do gluten at all. I don't do dairy as much. So I'm not as restrictive with dairy. I will say that I only do organic things. I have a rule with dairy. I don't bring it into my house except for grass-fed butter. But if I'm out, I don't stress about it. For like coffee and stuff, I use hemp milk, macadamia nut milk. If I'm near a farm, I'll use local unpasteurized milk. Whew, that stuff's delicious. And, but yeah, I just don't bring dairy into my house because it leads to acne, it leads to brain fog, it leads to digestive situations. So I just say no to dairy. And then soy is another big one that I avoid. And this is because it's a hormone imbalancer. So it is estrogen mimicking, which means that it really just causes havoc in the body. That's really what it does. And it is in so many things, and so many people think that they're doing something good by getting a soy situation, but in reality, it's really just messing with their body even more. So I avoid gluten, soy, and dairy. Those are the three that I'm like, no. So I'm curious if you guys have any questions, just drop them below. I'd love to answer them. But the other thing that I make sure to look at when I'm at the grocery store is I try to make sure that I am not getting anything genetically modified. I have something that's called MTHFR. I like to call this the motherfucker gene disorder. And this is something that almost 85% of Americans have. They just don't realize it. So 85% of Americans have MTHFR gene disorder. And literally what it means is my liver doesn't have, okay, so you know when the trash men are going around and there's that like big thing that comes over and like grabs the trash and dumps it for you, that makes it seem so much easier. You're just having a good old day, walking around making sure the trash cans get back in place because there's that big arm that goes and grabs it, right? Well, my liver doesn't have that. So there's no big arm that's coming over and doing the heavy duty lifting. So every time something enters my body, my liver has to go through each and every piece, and there's not a big heavy duty thing that's going to be supporting it. And therefore, everything that comes through my body has got to be really clean or specific, or it slows me down. It creates a lot of brain fog, and it also means that there's no space for anything synthetic, and that's why I avoid genetically modified food. And really, this isn't something that I use as a label of things that are going to hold me back. It's just more of a reason that I take care of myself, because I feel that if I'm fueling my body with nutrients, then it's going to thrive. If I'm fueling my body with crap, my body's gonna feel like crap. It doesn't matter the size of toxin that I'm putting in, or, oh, I just put in a little bit of toxin last week, I'll be fine. No, a toxin's still a toxin. It's still gonna affect my body. It's still gonna slow me down. And I really don't have time for that. Like realistically, I just don't have time to be slowed down because I didn't take care of myself, and that's on me. No one's coming to save me. Nobody's gonna come and take that French fry out of my hand. Nobody's gonna come do those things. But again, I'm not restrictive with it. I just eat food that is real instead of finding something that's junk. So I want to kind of take you through what that kind of means, what it does when I'm out and about, and how I've kind of learned about this. So when I was I started off, when I was born, my family was vegan or vegetarian, one of those two. I think it was vegetarian. And then when I was around 5 or 6, we found out that my sister had a really weird, rare blood thing going on with her that she actually needs red meat to be able to survive. And then so we all started introducing red meat into our body, and we started noticing a lot more energy and support. And still to this day, if I go even like 2 days without red meat, I can feel a difference. I just don't have enough energy. I don't sleep through the night as well. I'm not able to do as much, and my brain isn't firing as fast as I would like it to. So that's something that we just figured out works best for us, and that's why I keep meat in my diet. I just make sure it's clean, there's no hormones in it, it's grass-fed. That is super important, that the animals aren't being fed junk, because that's just going into us. It's really important that we know where the food is coming from. We're getting it from a clean farmer. If you can do locally sourced, organic, clean, grass-fed meat, that's the best that we can do. And there's a ton of farms around everywhere. You'd be very surprised. You can find farmers, and it's really not expensive. It's such an amazing opportunity, and then you're supporting your local community, right? So that's why I really make sure that my meat is clean. But I do go to the grocery store. I go to the local store. Whole Foods is over an hour and a half away from me, so it's not like I'm going somewhere crazy. I don't have food delivered to me. I live in the smallest town of New Hampshire. So I'm telling you this because I know if I can do this, you can do this too. I've done this while traveling internationally. I lived in Hong Kong for 6 months, and I did it over there. I have done this while on a cruise. I've done it on vacation. I've done it while going through the airports. I've done it when I'm surrounded by friends who don't eat the same way that I do. There's so many ways, and there's never an excuse. All you have to do is know that you're worthy of it. Know that you absolutely deserve clean food. You absolutely have the opportunity to do it. And now is the best time to get started. Most of these foods are going to stay in your body. The crap foods are going to stay in your body longer than the goodness. And if you haven't been fueling your body with clean food, then every time that you go and insert, good food into your body, it's going to hold on to it because it's going to say, oh, this is a good nutrients, and I don't know the next time that I'm going to get it. So you're actually going to start holding on to your nutrients instead of utilizing it, and that's just going to carry weight on your body, and that's, going to lead to inflammation, and then it's just going to be not fun. The other thing with inflammation is if you are experiencing inflammation, I can guarantee you still have toxins in your diet because the body can't process toxins, okay? It only can do so many, and then it's like, well, that's as many toxins as we can handle. We've got to store this somewhere until we can process what we've got going on in the body. So we typically will, once we get to that point, we'll actually have toxins stored in inflammation and fat because the body can actually surround the toxin with fat, and that's a protective shield so that it doesn't hurt those vital organs in the body. So a great way to really get rid of that is just start eating clean, and I can guarantee you that you're going to see inflammation drop off first and foremost. So with that said, there's so many options for eating clean nowadays. When I first got started, like I said, I went gluten-free when I was in my teens, so we introduced meat back in. We were eating kind of clean, but at this point, gluten-free wasn't really a term that people used back then. And so we just started really experimenting with, okay, what if we actually cut out gluten, soy, dairy, corn, and all sugar, including fruit sugar. I did this for a few years with my family, and I was like, Mom, what are you doing to us? Can you imagine me as a teenager? Funny. I was quite an interesting teenager. But so we cut all of that out for 90 days, and we saw a huge difference with our family dynamics. Now, I'm the oldest of 4 kids, so I've got 3 younger siblings underneath me, 2 sisters and a brother, and all of us could tell a difference, including my parents. We could see difference in how we treated each other, difference in how we were sleeping through the night, how we were waking up, how homework time was going, how helping out with the family was going. All of those things that you're just like, I just want my family to help, came down to food. Isn't that cool? So once we got through those 90 days, we introduced gluten back in. We actually introduced it all right in the beginning. We were like, okay, let's have a pasta night. That turned out disastrous. Absolutely disastrous. All of us got really angry with each other. We all just started acting like crazy people. And so we determined no more. And we introduced fruit back into the family, and we started looking at other alternatives that we could introduce back in that wasn't going to be a flare within our family. But that was the start of our clean eating. So then at 18, I was like, bye family, I'm going to college. I'm not going to follow any of these rules. I'm just going to go and do whatever my heart desires. And it ended in a tragic situation. I started having so many things go on with me. I couldn't keep my energy levels up. I was just living off of coffee. I wasn't sleeping through the night. I was probably getting maybe 4 hours of sleep. I was dancing 8 hours a day. Acne was absolutely terrible. I kept just having so many weird things pop up. My digestive system was awful. There were just so many things. And then at 21, I was like, nope, done with this, because I started having situations start popping up with rashes all over my face and my neck and my arm. And I was like, we can't be doing this. This is painful. It literally felt like poison ivy was on my eyes. And so I started cutting out the toxins again, and that has cleared up. I've done a lot of other things, but that was the main thing that I started with, and it cleared up so much. And so that was around 21. I am 26. Yes, 26. What age am I? So it has been a good amount of years that I've been back to eating clean, and I can tell you my brain fires faster than my friends. I sleep better than my friends. My brain fog, I've got solutions for that. I can tell if I've had cheese, that's usually what slows me down. I start getting acne right on my cheekbones right here. There's quirky things that happen when I decide to make the choice, but when I do it, I am very aware. I've got my, I take a supplement to help digest dairy, and it's called Essentialzymes 4. I've got Digise in case I'm gluten poisoned, and that is just awful. When I have had something to eat, within the first bite, I can tell that there's gluten in it. And my entire body, it's like hair stands up on my arms, and I'm like, oh no, something's wrong. This is poison. And it's still in me. So there's so many different things that could be going on, and it could be related to your diet. And so I just want you guys to really pay attention to what you're putting in your food, how you can support yourself with protein and vegetables, making your plate really colorful. Colors of the rainbow are perfect, seeing what you can do locally. And I'm just going to continue talking about what I'm eating over the next couple months and letting you guys fill in. So if you have any questions, drop those below. I'd love to answer them. But really, what I want to encourage you to do is just start looking at your ingredients. What are you flipping over that box and seeing? What are you reading? What are those things doing? How do you feel after you eat? Is there a certain time of the day where you're feeling like maybe you're slowing down and it's right after you ate something? And then if you guys don't know, I actually have a whole online course. It's 90 days to clean eating. It takes you from not knowing what clean eating is all the way to clean eating with recipes, why you eat what you eat, why you don't eat what you eat, and that link is in my profile. And I would love to really just guide you along this. It's been quite an amazing journey helping so many people on this path and seeing them start thriving. So catch you next time.